Hi, my name is Bailey Hoffner, and I'm a metadata librarian here at Oklahoma State University Libraries. Well, technically, I'm not usually here in Stillwater. I work remotely from Norman, Oklahoma. Go Pokes. And I mention my remote work because it actually has a lot to do with what I'd like to talk about with you today. I am an adult diagnosed autistic person. What that means for me is that I struggled intensely with anxiety, depression, and sensory overload for much of my life without having any way of really understanding myself. After finding my diagnosis and doing lots of internal work, I started slowly but surely to move towards a life that was more validating of my individual needs, such as not working in a busy environment with lots of people. Since then, I've been able to access a level of contentment and thriving that pre-diagnosis I didn't think would ever be possible for me. At OSU Library, my supervisors have been validating of my self-awareness and continue to warmly receive my efforts towards self-advocacy. Unfortunately, this is not yet the case in most workplaces or most libraries. In fact, it's estimated that 85% of American adults with autism that have a college education are unemployed. Much of this has to do with a general lack of understanding and a proliferation of misunderstandings about and around autism. Knowing this, I've focused my efforts on utilizing my newfound wellness, access to a supportive academic environment, and skills in advocacy and virtual teamwork to further research related to autism and libraries. Just this September, a collaborator in the UK and I launched a 2-year, 10-team-member international research project entitled Perceptions and Discourses of Autism in Library and Information Science Literature, a Critical Interpretive Synthesis. What we'll be doing over the next 2 years is examining the literature, whether academic or otherwise, for any evidence of what perceptions of autism look like in libraries. For example, once we've identified the literature for review, we'll be looking at specific language use around agency to understand whether autistic people are being perceived as active agents in their own lives or as passive recipients of library services. We'll also dig into all kinds of nerdy metadata librarian stuff, like which subject headings have been applied to which resources. And all this nerdy stuff is actually filled with important information about how we, as the field of library studies, have come to understand our relationship to and frame conversations about autism. We'll be doing all of this using a reflexive approach that encourages us to continually engage with the topic and our relationship to it in open and dynamic ways. I have deep gratitude for my supervisors and their wholehearted support of these efforts. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to utilize my skills alongside OSU resources to hopefully improve the library field's understanding of autism and autistic individuals, and in turn, improve lives. At the end of the day, the more we honor one another's individual needs, the more we contribute to creating inclusive library spaces and services. If you'd like to learn more about autism and autistic experience, I highly recommend the Autistic Self Advocacy Network at autisticadvocacy.org.